for example, EU organic is you can hold 3,000 hens in a barn, what is not really super for hens. But you have to give them space out with covered vegetation. And of course, also organic food. And in the US, you can hold 70,000 hens and a kind of balcony, or just, they say, fresh air. I mean, if you ever was in a barn with 70,000 hens, and I was, it's so disgusting and so ugly because nothing, you can imagine how they stressed are.
Welcome to the Real Organic Podcast. I'm Linley Dixon, co-director of the Real Organic Project. We're a grassroots, farmer-led movement with an add-on organic food label to distinguish organic crops grown in healthy soils and organic livestock raised on well-managed pasture. You just heard from European Parliament member Sarah Wiener. She's a German television chef and food grower who's working to gain support for the EU's Farm to Fork initiative. Dave interviewed Sarah last fall to learn more about how Europe is focused on adopting organic agriculture and banning chemical inputs, while our own USDA is loudly and actively speaking out against their plan.
I'm very pleased today to be talking with Sarah Wiener. Did I say that correctly, Sarah?
Yes. Complete. Thank you, dear Dave. I'm happy to have this chat with you.
Good. Sarah, I'm going to let Sarah tell us about a little bit of her story, but she is a member of the EU Parliament and works, also has a history as an organic activist and as a chef, and is well known in the EU. So Sarah, can you tell me a little bit, we'll get up to the Parliament part, but how did you become involved in organic?
I was always interested in food, always. Since I was a little child, I remember times that there was the fairy tale, if you drink cola, your liver will get out of your body like this, or it will not exist anymore. Things like that. And it will be, cola can be an addiction. And I was maybe 7 or 8 years, and it seems totally understandable for me on this time. So I never drank any cola because I didn't want to get addicted from Samsung, who is pure water, and you just add chemical stuff into it and pay it for 100 times more expensive than you could have the water from your tap. So I was, I think, in this way, a very strange child. And my mother was also a very special person. I come from an artist family, and she was one of the early green persons. Green, the party didn't exist. But she went, also my grandma, she made the courses in the Reform House. It was a movement for kind of healthy nutrition and a little bit artisanal nutrition, whole food, whole wheat products. And so I had always in my family something going on with food. My father had restaurants. And so it was clearly, I was grown up with organic is the best. And when I became a TV chef, I wondered, what does that mean, organic is the best? Because I was thinking maybe I'm brainwashed, kind of, you tell people because your parents told it, and do you know really what is organic? The difference about non-organic, what does that mean? And so I digged in this theme, and I started because I was a little bit convinced that I was wrong, I was it was just kind of advertisement saying organic versus conventional food, and it's all about take more money out for the same product, or kind of this. And then I read a lot, and I was so shocked to learn what's going on with our food, with the food industry, that the food industry needs a special kind for agriculture. And it means the smallest level from everything, because I have just, it has to be always the same. I have to store it, and it has to be uniform because of the machines. You can't have a chicken who is 1 kilo bigger than the other, like people. No, they have to look the same, that the machines will function. And then you have to pour a lot of substitutes into it, because it has to hold 1 year maybe. And because few things are very, very expensive, you have to find a lot of substances who cost nothing, and they fake kind of smell or taste. And so I learned a lot about this, and it was, whoa, I didn't know. I really didn't know what's going on. Why I can't just eat what I want to eat? The product from the soil, from the tree, from the animal that my grandfather ate. Why it has so changed to something artificial and something crap, and then use a lot of pesticides to ruin the soil, the fertile soil, and is now in my body. Nobody asked me, do you want to be poisoned, my dear? And nobody said, yes, please, poison me, and in contrary, you can pay €1 less. So the whole system, what becomes stronger and stronger the last 40 years, was really for a chef that I am, who loves nutrition, loves the taste, loves to smell different apples or carrots, and love the forms, and to cut something in small pieces, and hear in the pan how it makes the sound, and then you serve it, and your belly and your mind is happy, is nearly gone in this system. So I started to be against this system as a chef, and not as a politician, because I said, I don't want to eat bad things just because of that an industry can make more money. What for? Why I should support an industry who makes me sick in 20 years, or unfertile, and I can't have children, or destroy the future for my children? It doesn't make for me any sense. And I think we have to understand that we are part of the nature, and then we have also to eat natural. So for me, it was just not science, it was just in my guts to say, this is not good what we are doing. And so I end up to tell the people, and what I'm thinking, what I've learned, what I've read, what scientists says. And so I become really kind of expert in few themes with nutrition. I've has my own foundation. It's now 15 years old, who learn in schools and kindergartens, teaches children how to cook fresh, regional, and hopefully also organic, to be independent. Because if you can't cook, you have not the choice to say what you want to eat, because then you have always eat something what other people serve you, or what an industry gives you to eat. So for me, it's all about, how do you say in English? Can I say lust or passion?
Yes, desire,
taste. You know, and if you honor the nature and the variety, the biodiversity of fruits, of seeds, of salads, then everybody's happy. Animals are happy, bees are happy, soil are happy, and my belly is happy.
Yes. So you've become known because you're a chef on a TV show, and in that process of finding your way of what kind of food you wanted to cook, what kind of food you wanted other people to cook, you became part of a movement. Is that right? That there is a movement in the world, certainly in Europe, around good food, around good farming. Many of the initial energy for that movement came from people who were farming, but I like talking to you because you came to it as someone who is cooking food.
Yeah, it's crazy because I didn't know that there are a lot of people who are like me and who are thinking like me and make a lot of thoughts about our agriculture system and about our food system. In the beginning, I was thinking I was nearly alone because I didn't know anybody. And so everything what I knew was about science magazines or books or films, you know. So it was a long way for me to step in this scene. And also as a TV chef, a lot of people asked me 20 years ago, what is food quality? And in this time, chefs told you food quality means it has to be fresh, it has to be expensive, and it's rare. And then it's the best, you know. And people never in this time made the effort to think, oh, there's not just one potato. There are 50,000 other varieties. We can just go in the supermarket and find 3 or 4 or 5 now. But all potato variety has a different taste, looks different, needs maybe another soil, another attitude of height. So it was very, very interesting for me to discover all those things, that it's not just, it has to be fresh like a fish, and you know that yes, when the eye is good, you can see in the eye of the fish, then it's a good quality. And you never spoke about which fish, from where it comes, how was the transportation, what ate the fish. Did you had it in this net, or did you have it with the rope? And is it from today, or is it from I don't know where? And in the end, the last step, I was the woman who had to do something with these ingredients to your table. And this is just a small step, yes. The cooking. Okay, you can also, when you're a bad chef, you can ruin every nutrition when you don't do it right. But don't forget the 10 steps who are next to you in the row. It's very important for the taste and for the whole environment and also for your health.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have a friend who grew up in Spain, and when she was young, she would go to an island off the coast in Spain that was very famous for their tomatoes, and they had very good tasting tomatoes. And not that many years ago, 10 years ago maybe, she went back to that island, and she said the tomatoes were terrible. And when Spain joined the common market, they were growing entirely for export on that island. And instead of growing the old varieties that tasted very good, they're growing the same varieties basically that they grow in California, because they look pretty and they ship long time without rotting, but they're very different. And, you know, so that's part of that whole system changing all around us. And people go to the store and they actually no longer have that choice. The choices are changing too. So that's what organic is about. I think that's what real organic is about. is making sure that at least people have the choice. And we're losing the choice because invisibly these things are disappearing.
This is a sad story because we all already lost, I would say maybe 80% of our seeds we can eat, of the fruits, of the vegetable, because there is no money in the game, no market, no global market. So the savior, the heroes today are the people who has a private garden and look after one regional bee or an apple who is not. I have a peach tree in my garden. I have a lot of course. I have a huge garden in the Uckermark. It's so 1.5 hours east-north from Berlin on the Polish border. There I have with friends and a huge organic agriculture, but I have also private garden. And in my garden, there is a peach tree, a very early peach. Oh, it's so delicious. You can't imagine. If you smell the peach, you give 3 peaches in my kitchen, the whole room is smelling from these peaches. And doesn't look very nice because it's not huge, of course, and it's not always perfect. But if you eat it, you know it's dripping around your hand and you can't stop. It's like roses and a sweetness that is addicting you. But you can't find this peach in the supermarket because you have to eat it on the same day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it's a little bit damaged when it's lay on my ground and it has something. So okay, tomorrow it's okay. I could eat it, but you never could sell it, and you can't transport it. So people in the supermarket don't give you the best stuff. And what is really amazing, the system is store it long as it could be. It has to be very, very cheap. It has to be the smallest goal for everything. It has to be hybrid seeds that it can breed everywhere. So if it's 2000 altitude high, is it in Hungary or in Romania or in USA? We don't mind. And this same everywhere comes to high costs, because first, plants needs soil to be healthy and to grow happily. That's why they have roots, because they need the soil to go into it and to find, we say in German, eine Heimat. So it's kind of your child home. They need to have, they have participation with their other bodies in the soil, and there are thousands of bodies. They help the small plant to grow and to communicate, and then the plant say, hey dear mushroom, I give you sugar from the sunlight, and maybe you can give me a little bit phosphate from 100 meters from there because I'm so small. And the mushrooms say, yes, I will do it because it's a good business for me. So there's a lot of natural interconnection. We don't know, we don't see it. We don't speak the language, but there is, like human do connections. And when there's a lot of connections, it's a stable system for the whole soil world. And this whole soil world produce then very good and strong food for us. And it's good for our bodies in our guts, because we have also a lot of small bodies who helps us to digest, for the hormone system, for staying healthy. The whole immune system is more healthy if you feed a lot of different bodies. And now we have a system that we say, oh, we don't mind. For me, a corn is a corn. It looks complete the same. So if we give it in Siberia or in the USA or in Brazil, we don't mind. oh, it doesn't want to grow so nice because it don't know that the small plant of corn don't know the soil. Okay, then we have here fertilizer, mineral fertilizer, whoosh. Oh, then insects comes and other because the plant is weak and don't know and can speak with the bodies because it's another language. Okay, then we put pesticides on, whoosh. And so we have a system that don't understand natural laws and the sensitivity of life. And this is our life, but it's also the life and the communication for plants or for animals. And I think I don't want to be, like, oh, she has an alu head on her head and speaks strange things. But we have to respect that our strongness came from vivid food, from living food, and not from dead material like, I don't know, plastic and so on. We live from sorry for my bad English, from things who are also has a lot of life. Yeah. So we can discuss this matter of many points, but in the end, I would suggest to the simplest you can do in a win-win situation, and this is go hand in hand with nature and learn from the nature and find your way to get your share from good nutrition. And then if you have good nutrition, don't go to the high processed food that you kill every life into it. And in the end, you have also crap, like it is a lot in the industry.
Yeah. All right, Sarah, let me take us to your decision to enter politics. What inspired you to become a member of the EU Parliament?
To say the truth, it was not my idea. The Austrian Green asked me 2019 if I want to candidate for the European Parliament, because at this time the Austrian Green had a bad standing and they looked for somebody who is well known in the society and people like them maybe, hopefully. And I never had the idea to go in the politics, but then I said, oh my God, I felt like the universe sent me that, because I had never the idea. And suddenly I was thinking, but it makes totally sense, because agriculture, the laws of agriculture in the whole EU is made in the EU, not in the member states. They can do also agriculture, but the whole big laws comes from Brussels. And so this can't be a coincidence. I have to go there. I have to be candidate. And then I was voted, and I went first time in the European Parliament, and I was overwhelmed, and it was very awful for me because I had to learn a lot, and my English was so bad. I mean, it's still bad, but you can't imagine how bad it was 3 years ago. And then they have their own speech, their own language. If I listen to them and I read these papers, like, what do they mean? What do they want to tell the people? And so I learned a lot. I have to say, really, day and night. And I have to understand that I have to pick my battles and to stay focused on my themes, what is nutrition and agriculture. And so a lot of things which I find very interesting, I don't dig in because I just have 7 days a week and I want to change desperately something to the good. And so I'm now occupied with labeling in the EU for nutrition, for animal welfare is a huge theme. For me personally, it's a huge theme. In vitro meat, these surrogates, I think this is really the nightmare of the nightmare. And I'm now rapporteur, so I'm the person who wants to negotiate with all other groups in the parliament the reduction of chemical pesticides as a legislative proposal from the Commission. And this is really, I can tell you, this is a hard fight, because a lot of conservative people here, members, don't want to change anything. And pesticides reduction has not just to do with fertile soil, but also with our health and the health of the environment. For me, it's a key dossier. It's a key dossier for a better future and a better agriculture.
So Sarah, that reduction of pesticides, that is part of the Farm to Fork initiative?
Yes, it's one of the heart of the Farm to Fork initiative. I was the shadow rapporteur for the Farm to Fork for the European Green. And in this Farm to Fork, they wrote 50% reduction of pesticides, 50% reduction of antibiotics, 20% production of mineral fertilizer. So there and 25% raising up organic farming in the EU. So there's a lot in, but this is not a regulation. It's just a strategic plan. Also, there is food waste to conquer the food waste, and a lot of other things, because you can't not take one little bit out and then, for example, you say, okay, we'll reduce pesticides for 50% and we let everything how it goes. No, it doesn't work. You have to change the whole system for better.
Yes.
So it's called IPM, Integrated Pest Management. So what do a lot of good farmers? Crop rotation, maybe 5-7 years, and undersowing and mechanical work, and not use just every time when you start pesticide, without looking at your field, your soil and your plant. Is it really needed? And if it's needed, maybe I have to change something in my system that it's not so much needed.
Was the initiative, you say it's not the law, was it passed by a majority of the European Parliament?
No. It's passed. There was Directive 2009. The Commission tabled it and said, okay, we want to have in all, what is the English word, in all environments who are protected areas. In protected areas, you don't want to have any pesticides, also not organic pesticides. And we want to reduce the pesticides, and chemical pesticides should be the last resort. If you don't know really what to do, then you can use pesticides. But before, you have to try to do this and that and that. And every member state says, yes, we do it. Nothing happened. Nobody followed the rules, because it was just a directive, not a regulation. And so now the Commission said, okay, my dears, 12 years, nothing happened. Pesticides cells are growing. We have a problem with highly hazardous pesticides. We have a problem with water pollution. We have a pesticides with our health. We have a problem with fertility by animals, also by human. So now we have to make a regulation. And since then, this new proposal, all member states, all industrial agriculture farmers are really get mad. And also every conservative groups get mad. And it's not about the compromise. It's about no. And if you ask them, so do you mean you don't want to have any reduction of chemical pesticides? Is that, no, I didn't saw that. Of course we need, but not today, not in our country. not here. So in the end, they say clearly no. And now I have to find allies. And there are, of course, a lot of NGOs. There are the beekeeper, there are the water companies who are really begging me to fight for the health and for the good and for unpoisoned water. So I'm not alone in this fight, but I have to look who is ready for compromises and how we can, as a society, go the better way. Because it's not about left and right. It's not about ideology. It's about our future and our body and our health and our biodiversity who is going away. It's about our nutrition, about food security. I mean, if we don't have fertile soil and we depend by expensive input from Russia and Ukraine, or I don't know which states, and it costs a lot. And now we see in Europe that there's a lot of problems. I have to be independent again. And as a farmer, I want to have my dignity and I want to be independent. And that is what the industry don't tell them. You could be independent you don't need so much money to do a good and stable agriculture. In contrary, you will get better yields if you respect how to do it without inputs who destroy your soil in the end.
In the United States, the industry response to these issues is what we call greenwashing. And they say, yes, we want that too. And in fact, they have taken over something called the Regenerative Movement in America, which started actually from Rodale Center a long time ago, but then it became something that Midwestern farmers, grain farmers, and some livestock farmers embraced with the basics of crop rotation and growing green manure, or at least a cover crop, keeping the land covered all the time. And now it's been taken over by every major multinational corporation in the food sphere, from Syngenta and Bayer Monsanto and Cargill and Bunge and ADM and Pepsi and McDonald's. And they all say, yes, we are going to be regenerative. And, it sounds good, but I'm very doubtful. And I'm curious, is that kind of a conversation going on in the EU? Are the big multinational corporations embracing the farm to fork initiative, but not actually supporting it?
It's not a huge discussion because now the farm to fork initiative is past the European Parliament. We voted for in the end. But now it comes really to legislative proposals, and this is a different thing. And we see that the industry always tell you, oh, I'm so sustainable and I have the methods to become better, but don't change the system of huge agriculture with a lot of inputs and who is in the hand from five global concerte, I don't know the English name, from global players, just 5. And they don't want to have real diversity, not in the food chain, not on the field. So if it comes to the battle, okay, why not support the small-scale farmer and the diversity, and why not give money for research, how we could do also in organic better and teach it in schools, in agriculture schools. Oh, no. This is not the way we will lead in the future. We need another greener revolution. Okay, GMO failed. We have now a lot of resistances. But hey, there's the good news. We have the GMO second generation. And now we are sure it will work. And then they say we need more seeds were hybrid because we have test fields. And so now we forgot every regional seeds, and then we have our seeds. Okay, you have to pay for it, and these seeds need mineral fertilizer from my companies. Okay, but you will have. And oh, if you have the mineral fertilizer, then you need also pesticides, but no problem. It's also from my company, you can have. And by the way, I give you an advisor from my company because I just mean it good for you. Don't think it over. I tell you the time when you have to spray. And the good thing is I have also a buyer for you. It's me, myself, but don't mind. Then you are on the good side and you give everything what you produce in my company. And if you need money because then you have to have more machines, no problem. I have also a bank. I will give you a credit. It's my bank. But okay, this is a win-win situation for me and for you. And that's how it works. That's how it works. And we have to say, really? Are you kidding me? And now the advertisement and the system is so good. And they made so much advertisement that we don't make a difference in between agri-industrials, farmer, and small-scale independent farmers. They said, we are for the farmers. But this is a lie. They are not for the farmers. They are for an industry who don't need farmers anymore because now it's come smart farming and so on and so on. Drones. Small-scale farmers can't afford this system. This is clear. But they have to concurrence with the system. And this is this unfair suspect, yes, because they have so much and it goes in the places where they can produce the cheapest and cheapest. I have to be now to battle me for my things, for my good nutrition with those crap, and they say no, there's no difference. Everything is bad, good, and very healthy, and we're the best system. And so there are a lot of aspects that they say, it's unfair. It's not just. And you kill the small-scale farmer. And you can see that in statistics that we have killed millions of small-scale farmers the last time because they couldn't compete with these structures. And in EU, you have substitutes for per hectare. It means if you have a lot of hectares, you get more money. And it doesn't matter what you do with these hectares. You can do what you want. But this is this is money from a whole society. It's not from the industry. It's from you and from me. And so we pay agriculture who destroys our future and our diversity in food. So I'm not into it.
Yeah. Our government just gave $2.8 billion to support climate smart agriculture. And almost all of that money went to large multinational corporations, the very ones that have created the problem. It was an amazing giveaway.
I have to say, I'm not sorry for that, but I'm not a fan for USA organic farming. I'm a fan from, as I can read, Real Organic project. But what the USA does with organic mistrust people, and it's very, very bad for our movement because it was a movement from people by heart, and they say we do our rules, we farmer do our rules because we want to do better, and we do it because we believe in in unpoisoned food, in biodiversity, in equal relations with animals, kind of, I give you shelter, best conditions on the grass, and then you give me milk and meat in the end. And everything, these foundations, these relations are broken. And now there is from the USDA permission for things that never would be allowed in the EU. But since 2012, we have a trading agreement, the EU with the USA, and they said, okay, we have each other, we are convinced we have the same level of organic nutrition. And what does that mean? Because we have both a restriction of pesticide use, and we don't want genetic engineering, and we have quite similar requirements, but just quite. And in the last years, the USA organic trademark does things, I think this is unbelievable. And I wrote now a letter to the Commission to say, this is unfair competition, and this is not organic for me anymore. Like in the EU, I mean, you know, there are different brands. There is EU organic, and then there is brands like Demeter, Bioland, Naturland. They are more strict. And when you are a really good organic farmer, you are one of as a family of one of these brands. The control are twice, and you have stricter rules, animal welfare rules. You have, if you're a beekeeper or you do products for the market, it's a huge difference. And for example, EU organic is you can hold 3,000 hens in a barn, what is not really super for hens. But you have to give them space out with covered vegetation. And of course, also organic food. And in the US, you can hold 70,000 hens and a kind of balcony, or just, they say, fresh air. I mean, if you ever was in a barn with 70,000 hens, and I was, it's so disgusting and so ugly, because nothing, you can imagine how they stressed are, not to find their needs, the small needs what the hen does have, and they have day and night stress, because also the hen is a family member. A hen has a herd and knows everybody and knows their place, and the children and the grandma or the sister or the boss, whatever, and make also relation. And it would be like we are enclosed with 70,000 people next to me, so that they can't go to the door because there are so many people that they never will reach the door. And this is a system to say, this is organic, pardon me, not for me.
Yeah. Sarah, how about just so that people here understand what organic means in the EU, what it means in the rest of the world, what about hydroponic, production?
If you maybe remember, I told you that there's an organic principle to respect the needs of a plant and the connection between soil and plant and the roots. This is an organic principle. You can't not throw it away and say, okay, now I make hydroponic or aeroponic or something because it makes more money, and then it's forbidden in the EU. It never would be possible because it's the opposite of organic. also where are the plants are coming. If it was a soil treated with mineral pesticides, you have to wait 3 years to change it and become organic. In the aquaponics systems or aeroponic, it's like you have conventional flowers treated with whatever you want. You put it then in another soil on the ground, not or in water, even worse, and then you say on a I don't know, on a baton or something, and then you say, okay, it's organic, cool, because now it's in the glass house or something or under plastic, and now we don't. This is organic. I mean, this is ridiculous, and I read that 2/3 of your organic berries comes from huge companies, and they are claimed as organic. I mean, this destroys really the trust of organic for consumers. So they say, okay, then I can also buy the crap because I don't see what are you doing for the environment and what are you doing for the soil. And in the end, you could say, okay, we don't need agriculture at all. Let's go and eat surrogates. This is a win-win situation because soil is damaged and water is damaged, pollution is damaged. We don't have seeds. Cool. I mean, we have to think over in which future do we want to live and what means nature and what are we made for to eat.
Yeah.
And then it's a little bit also, there's also another leak. So this is really, really bad. It's not possible. But also the intransparency. If you buy organic food in Europe and it comes not from your country, you have to label the country from which the ingredients comes from. And if it's not from a third country, not from the EU, you have to label no EU agriculture. So that you know what you eat. Transparency is very important. And we in Europe, we know very good if you are in the themes when it's written Netherlander, it comes probably from plastic tents, or Spain. I think 90% of our tomatoes and phrases come from Spain, from Almeria, and this is a nightmare. So we need a lot of, we know little bit when it's written tomato from Austria, it's different. And then if you have a brand like Demeter, you know it has to be better treated and maybe it's a rare variety or something like this. So it's a huge field. What I wanted to say is I read, and I was pretty shocked, that one of the presidents says from USA organic, it's not about health and organic and biodiversity. It's about advertisement. And okay, that says all. That says all. I don't have to say my sentence.
That was the Secretary of Agriculture who said that when the USDA first began to be responsible for certification of organic, and he was saying this is we're not in any way saying this is superior in any way. This is just a branding. So
I mean, if any organic president or secretary would say this in Europe, you can't imagine what would coming out of this. You can't imagine. He wouldn't survive another hour.
Yes.
Because it's so ridiculous. We don't do it because it's an advertisement instrument. We don't do it because, of course, we all have to think also economically. but we do it first because it's a win-win situation and it's your heritage. Yes, to have a lot of varieties and healthy soil, and also who wants to eat this bad animals who are treated so badly and are sick? Who wants to eat all this pain? Nobody wants to eat it.
Yeah. Sarah, let me ask you, in the US, we are struggling to stop this erosion of the meaning of organic. And the best we've been able to come up with was to create an add-on label like Naturland in the Real Organic Project to say, no, that's not what we mean. This is what we mean. Do you think, what is the impact on the rest of the world from this destruction of the meaning, this, I'd say, redefinition of organic in the US by the government? And they're changing what it means. You know, the idea that organic would mean grown without soil is just insane. The idea that it would mean that we've got however many, you know, thousands of birds crammed into a building and call that organic is crazy. What's the impact in the EU and in the rest of the world of that failure?
Yes, I try now with other politicians and organic farmer to ban the US organic for the EU market. Okay, say it's conventional. I don't mind, but don't cheat and don't betray us. And for me, it's a fraud. And we built a really strong organic movement in Europe because we believed in, and we have very, very strict rules and a lot of controls. And okay, also EU organic could be and has to be better. But what the USA does with organic labeling, it's such a shame. And we are on the way to say, okay, no, they are not, we can't trade with them anymore on the same level because it's not equal. This is also, sorry for that, but I will fight for it. I mean, they have understand it's not, and I'm pretty sure it's just a matter of time. And also people in the USA say, are you kidding me? You make such a huge fraud for your purse, for your money, and cheated in very, very important things. Don't do this with us.
Yeah. Well, we're trying.
I hope so. So I think we are next to you if it comes to the definition and with to the real organic project, and it has to be. So we will fight it from our side.
Yeah.
And I hope, but also there will be a movement in USA. They stand up and say, no, this is not the solution. This is a nightmare. And we want to wake up from this nightmare, please. And also don't forget, it has to be a win-win situation for animal, plant, and people. It's not about that we are surrounded by a sick environment and we are the only one who will not get sick. It will be not this. So let's do something good.
Yeah.
And also something what is fun, because good food, good taste, it's one of the things in the world. It's the most fun and the most joy.
Thank you, Sarah. I know that our time is about up. Do you have any last things that you would like to share?
Yeah, I mean, politician and like you told, secretary is one, but every people has power. And we have to connect as a society, maybe also from USA to Europe, to get stronger, to get more informed, to do more science together, to stay clear that we are not alone. There are a lot of people on our side who think the same, who wants the best. Even people who have nothing to do with agriculture don't want to get poisoned. And I said, yes, I would love to eat healthy food, fresh, healthy varieties of good food. And I think we have to support that, and everybody has to support each other in this way and think that we will conquer and stay in contact. And I'm pretty sure that the universe will help us to win in the end, because it's the right thing to do.
Thank you for listening to the Real Organic Podcast. We hope that you'll subscribe and share the link with your friends. Please take the time today to leave us a rating and a review on whatever platform you're listening to so that others can find us. A video version of this interview is found at realorganicproject.org and by following our YouTube channel. Please join us next time when our guest will be longtime organic farmer Ben Dobson, now at Old Nut Farm. Ben joined us for our annual online symposium, along with 50 other thought leaders, where we discuss the co-opting of regenerative and climate farming. You can find tickets to the recordings at realorganicsymposium.org.